Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2025 movie titled Demon City. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. The film opens in Shinjo City, where an assassin named Shuhei Sakata meticulously sharpens his weapon before driving off in his sleek car. Meanwhile, at a beachside house, a group of Yakuza gang members report to their boss, Kawano, about a rival gang attempting to seize control of the city. Frustrated by their failure to manage the situation, Kawano lashes out in anger, stabbing one of his men and leaving him wounded. As chaos unfolds, Sakata stealthily infiltrates the beach house, dispatching guards with precision. As blood begins to seep from one window and a man's legs dangle from another, panic erupts among the gang members. They attempt to flee with Kawano through the main entrance, only to find their path obstructed by corpses. Sakata expertly fends off the goons pursuing him until he is suddenly hurled through a glass door by a massive gangster. A fierce battle ensues as they use whatever objects they can find as weapons. The gangster pins Sakata down and tries to stab him, but Sakata retaliates by severing the man's hand, leaving him to bleed out on the floor. Sakata then makes his way to Kawano's bedroom, cleverly utilizing one of the fallen goons' bodies as a shield against Kawano's gunfire. In a desperate bid for survival, Kawano attempts to escape via the balcony, but Sakata swiftly catches up and eliminates him. Just as he is about to leave, an unseen goon ambushes him with a gun, but Sakata's handler, Akira Fujita, intervenes and shoots the assailant first. Afterward, Fujita hands Sakata his payment and urges him to reconsider his dangerous line of work. However, Sakata resolutely states that he wishes to prioritize his family. Meanwhile, an enigmatic figure observes these events from the shadows. Later, Sakata returns home to his wife Aoi, and daughter, Ryo. After taking a shower and preparing for dinner, he is jolted by his family's screams. Rushing out, he finds a gang of men wearing demon masks surrounding them. The masked men express gratitude to Sakata for eliminating Kawano's gang, claiming that their own gang, the Kimingmi, can now take control of the city. When one of the goons seizes Ryo, Sakata intervenes but is halted when another goon shoots an object on the table. The goon begins to assault Sakata while Ryo pleads for her father's safety. In a desperate attempt to protect her daughter, Aoi begs for mercy but is met with tragedy when the goon shoots her in the head. Overcome with rage, Sakata urges Ryo to flee just as another goon fires at her as well. Amid this turmoil, the gang leader reveals that a demon has been lurking in the city for centuries, taking over a person's body every 50 years and transforming them into a demon killer. He claims that it is the Kimingmi's duty to guard the city against this threat. However, an enraged Sakata vows revenge for his family's murder. The gang leader mocks him and promises to await that day before shooting Sakata. In the aftermath, a news report reveals that a man named Sakata has killed his family before taking his own life. Fast forward 12 years later, we find Sakata in a comatose state, trapped in a hospital-like prison for years. Once his prison sentence concludes, Fujita arrives to escort Sakata. Meanwhile, Mayor Tsunohara addresses the media, boasting about his success in transforming Shinjo City from a perilous environment into a vibrant modern metropolis. He unveils plans for a new resort, but journalist Kamiyama interrupts with pointed questions regarding the numerous disappearances and murders that have plagued the city over the past decade, including the fate of a leader who opposed the resort's development. Tsunohara remains unfazed, dismissing these concerns as mere baseless rumors. After their encounter, Fujita takes Sakata to a rundown apartment in the slums. Once Fujita departs, his relative Raj assumes full responsibility for Sakata's care. One night, as Sakata navigates the dark streets, he is ambushed by a goon who reveals himself as the man whose hand Sakata severed and left for dead. However, upon witnessing Sakata's weakened state, the goon chooses to spare him. Simultaneously, in another part of the city, journalist Kamiyama interrogates a scarred informant about the notorious Kimingmi gang. The informant discloses that Sakata was once employed by them as a hitman and elaborates on the gang's illicit activities involving human trafficking and drug sales. Their exchange is abruptly interrupted when a masked assailant shatters the van's window. In a panic, Kamiyama flees, but the masked figure pursues him with a hammer. Concurrently, another masked man drags the goon from the van and forces him to take his own life by placing a hammer in his hand and giving him a gun. After the goon's death, the masked men receive a phone call. Back at home, Fujita plays ping pong while grappling with memories of Sakata's tragic past. He recalls his desperate plea to the Kimingmi to spare Sakata's family, a request they callously ignored. As he reflects on this betrayal, he receives an unexpected phone call with shocking news. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Police Chief Kotaro bribes the two officers guarding Sakata's room so they can take a break. Upon entering, he is taken aback to discover that the patient is Sakata. Donning a demon mask, Kotaro asks if Sakata recognizes him before producing a syringe from his coat and injecting it into Sakata's foreline. Unbeknownst to Kotaro, his voice is inadvertently aiding Sakata in rousing from his unconscious state, causing him to collapse onto the floor. Seizing the moment, Sakata lunges at Kotaro, bringing him down as well. In a fierce struggle, Sakata begins to choke Kotaro, but Kotaro retaliates by using nearby objects to push Sakata away and delivers several powerful kicks that render him unconscious. Just then, the officers return, prompting Kotaro to swiftly remove his mask to feign innocence and avoid suspicion. Once their attention shifts, he discreetly puts the mask back on and kills one of the officers. The second officer remains unfazed by this betrayal, revealing himself to be an undercover member of the Kiminmi gang. Suddenly, Sakata regains consciousness and attacks Kotaro again. The second officer attempts to shield Kotaro during the melee but ends up falling and becoming trapped between the bed and the wall. As Kotaro continues to assault Sakata, Sakata manages to land a blow to Kotaro's head and then attempts to choke him using the fourth line. In a fierce struggle, Kotaro is thrown into chaos as the officer tumbles out of the hospital window. Seizing the opportunity, Sakata swiftly wraps the bedsheets around Kotaro, choking him to death. Moments later, Raj and Fujita arrive at the hospital, shocked to see Sakata walking out alive. The news of his survival spreads like wildfire among the Kiminmi gang, igniting excitement in their leader, who declares Sakata a demon for having defied death. Meanwhile, Fujita receives a chilling message from the Kiminmi demanding that he deliver Sakata's lifeless body to them. Acting swiftly, he and Raj drive to a factory where they hand over a body bag containing Sakata's body. However, as the bag moves along the conveyor belt, Sakata breaks free, simultaneously striking a nearby guard. Factory owner Takamoto watches the unfolding chaos through security cameras and quickly alerts the gate guard, who opens fire on their van. Raj is killed instantly, while Fujita is injured but manages to return fire. As the situation escalates, Takamoto indulges in illegal substances and dons a mask, revealing himself as one of the men responsible for the murder of Sakata's family. With unwavering determination, Sakata navigates through the factory, overcoming every obstacle with precision and skill. Upon reaching the office, he finds it empty but spots Takamoto outside, poised to press a button on his phone. Suddenly, the building erupts in flames as Takamoto watches the destruction unfold, receiving a call from his leader who praises him for his success. However, Takamoto ends the call in shock as he sees Sakata emerging from the wreckage. Tension mounts until Fujita arrives and runs over Takamoto with his vehicle. Collapsing to his knees, Fujita apologizes to Sakata for his betrayal, admitting he deserves whatever fate awaits him. In a moment of cold resolve, Sakata shoots Fujita. Later, he captures Takamoto and hangs him up before unleashing a brutal beating. Yet, Takamoto only laughs at his predicament. Suddenly, Takamoto's phone rings, Sakata answers it and hears the leader's voice revealing that Sakata's daughter is still alive. Enraged, Sakata smashes Takamoto's mask to discover that the goon's leader is none other than Mayor Tsunohara. The leader presents Sakata with a harrowing choice: spare Takamoto and reunite with his daughter or kill him and lose her forever. Defying this ultimatum, Sakata kills Takamoto without hesitation. The following morning, news reporters cover the previous night's events, blaming Sakata for the attacks and falsely claiming he perished in the factory explosion. Meanwhile, Ryo Sakata has grown into a teenager and is being watched by Kanta, a member of the Kiminmi gang overseeing their illegal human trafficking operations. Kanta's gaze makes Ryo uncomfortable as he contemplates his situation. At that moment, Tsunohara calls Kanta with orders to locate Sakata. Later in another part of town, police officer Takagawa returns home only to be startled by the sight of Sakata waiting inside. Years ago, Sakata heroically saved Takagawa's life, forging a bond that led the officer to quietly assist him ever since by sharing vital intelligence. In a pivotal moment, Takagawa reveals a shocking video showing the Kiminmi gang executing the CEO of a security company, now tasked with protecting the resort where Sakata's daughter is held captive. Fueled by this revelation, Sakata seizes Takagawa's gun and sets off towards the security company's headquarters. There, he battles goons on every floor, relentless in his pursuit until he reaches a small apartment. Upon entering, Ryo instinctively hides behind furniture, while Sakata's eyes are drawn to a board plastered with photos of his daughter alongside Kanta, who poses as her father. Just then, Kanta bursts into the room, and an intense fight erupts between him and Sakata. In the midst of the chaos, Ryo seizes the opportunity to escape while Sakata gains the upper hand against Kanta. But Kanta retaliates fiercely, using heavy objects as weapons. With a gun now in hand, he taunts Sakata with cruel jibes, and in that moment, Sakata realizes with horror that Kanta is the very goon responsible for his wife's murder. As Kanta attempts to shoot Sakata, the gun unexpectedly jams. Just then, Ryo reappears, but instead of helping, she shoots Sakata in the chest with an arrow. Taking advantage of the confusion, Kanta shoves Sakata out of the window. When Sakata looks down, he sees Takagawa speeding away in a car, rushing him to safety to treat his injury and remove the arrow. While Takagawa tends to Sakata's wound, his phone rings. It's Tsunohara, who has tracked them through security cameras. Tsunohara demands to speak to Sakata and delivers a chilling ultimatum. If he wants to see his daughter Ryo again, he must come to the resort. Despite his serious injury, Sakata races to his secret hideout to retrieve his sword and sleek car. Meanwhile, Ryo is imprisoned in a resort room under heavy guard, every exit monitored by armed men. Upon arriving at the resort, Sakata leaves his car conspicuously empty at the entrance as a diversion and stealthily infiltrates the building. What follows is a whirlwind of action as he fights through goons with his blade, floor by floor, determined to rescue Ryo. Despite the pain coursing through him, he presses on until he finally confronts Kanta. Their battle is fierce, initially evenly matched. It escalates until Kanta nearly stabs Sakata. In a moment of sheer will, Sakata counters, stabbing Kanta in the eye and knocking him unconscious. At last, Sakata reaches the top floor and enters a room only to be stunned to find Ryo inside, yet she doesn't recognize him. This brief moment of shock allows Jin, the last masked goon, to attack from behind, knocking Sakata out cold. Moments later, he awakens before Tsunohara, who spins a tale about a legendary city demon while revealing his sinister plan to transform Sakata into this feared figure. As Tsunohara prepares to execute Ryo with his sword, Takagawa bursts onto the scene, firing his weapon and taking out most of the goons. However, Tsunohara narrowly escapes by using one of his own men as a shield. Amidst the chaos, Sakata calls out to Ryo, and upon hearing his voice, her memories flood back to her. In a desperate bid for freedom, Ryo escapes with Takagawa, while Sakata engages in a fierce battle with Jin. Although Sakata manages to land a few hits, Jin consistently dominates the fight, overpowering and injuring him at every turn. Amidst the chaos, Sakata seizes a fleeting opportunity to stab Jin and forcefully throws him down the stairs. As the dust settles, Tsunohara removes Jin's mask, revealing a shocking truth. Jin is his twin brother, marked by a burn scar that sets him apart from Tsunohara. Meanwhile, Takagawa is focused on helping Ryo flee the building. However, in a moment of reflection, Ryo changes her mind and resolves to return to find her father, Sakata. At that critical juncture, Tsunohara dons his mask and confronts Sakata with his sword. Weakened by his severe injuries, Sakata struggles as Tsunohara lands multiple devastating strikes, ultimately severing one of Sakata's hands. Yet, despite the pain and bloodshed, Sakata's indomitable spirit drives him to retaliate, delivering a final, fatal blow to Tsunohara's head. As Sakata tumbles down the stairs, he catches sight of Ryo witnessing the harrowing scene unfold. Just as she attempts to reach him, Kanta emerges from the shadows and shoots Sakata. Kanta then approaches Ryo, seeking to reconnect with her amidst the chaos. However, in a moment of unexpected resolve, Sakata rises behind Kanta and delivers a lethal strike with his blade, ending Kanta's life. In his final moments, Sakata collapses into Ryo's arms, sharing tender words of love before slipping away. Soon after, emergency crews, including police, firefighters, and medical personnel, arrive to manage the aftermath of the violence. Among the injured, they discover that Jin is still alive. Authorities instruct Ryo to wait in an ambulance for her safety, but when no one is watching, she chooses to flee the scene instead. A year later, Jin assumes his brother's identity and wins an election, stepping into a role of power. In a subsequent interview, he dons the leader's mask and performs a ritual at a secluded shrine in the forest. Suddenly, Ryo reappears and unleashes a barrage of arrows at Jin, killing him in an act of vengeance. With her father's car as her escape vehicle, she drives away into the unknown. Thank you for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.